Hey everybody, this is Daisy Princess 2004. You may think that's the number of string tricks I know, but it's actually the year I was born. Again, it's been a while. Glad to see everybody. Hello. I don't know. So, we have got a exciting trick for you today. We had a request from Jax L. We're going to have to, sorry Jax, but that'll have to come later. Today's is Zubenelgenubi. We are going to do a trick, one of my absolute favorites. Not always a crowd pleaser. In the end, it's maybe not as exciting looking as some other tricks, but I'm a big fan of this trick. It's got some of my favorite moves to do, and it is specifically for today. So, today is December 21st, the solstice, but also the conjunction of Saturn and Jupiter. So, that's when they look really close to us. Saturn and Jupiter, we get a double planet, which we don't often get to see. And the reason I'm doing Zubenelgenubi today is because that is a name for double stars, twin stars. So Zubenelgenubi is another name for Alpha Librae, which is a double star in the constellation Libra. So today we're going to learn a double star in honor of the double planets on today's winter solstice. So, yeah, pulled my string off my neck, got some extra baggage there these days, got a mask around my neck most of the time, and sometimes a string too. So, this trick, Zubenelgenubi, somebody just made up in the 90s. Avid stringer, I'm sure. I learned it from the International String Figure Association. Great organization, free to become a member, and you get access to all these archives they have, which are awesome. They're about to send out the membership emails for 2021. That'll be next month at some point. But you just email, and this guy, Mark, who's written some string books, sends you an email with the login. It's great. But yeah, this was a string figure of the month in 2012, so if you get lost or my explanation is inadequate, you can go there, and they've got an interesting way of teaching string tricks. You have to learn some nomenclature, but they've got step-by-step videos, whereas we're going to do it all at once. Of course, you're free to pause or whatever, but another fun thing about this trick is it's very hard to tell when you're going whether someone is doing it, whether you're doing it right. So when I teach people other tricks, if they're doing Jacob's Ladder, I can say, oh, I can see that with the string pattern you have right now, you have made a mistake. And I've seen mistakes enough with that I can usually tell the mistake people have made too. And I'll say, oh, just undo this or start over. I can do that. But with Zubenelgenubi, you don't know till the very end whether you've done it right. And my practice run today, I did it wrong. And I was like, I know what I forgot. But you can't tell till the very end. So it's frustrating. But it's a great trick. I like it. And let's get going, huh? Okay, so you start off with position 1. If you don't know string basics, I think I have a video on that. But yeah, position 1, you have to hold your string right. And it just starts like this. And then we're going to go straight into opening A. So you do this thing where you start with your right hand, and then do this thing where you pick up these strings until you get this. Now I do opening A in a lot of my tricks, so I'm kind of rushing through that. And hopefully you have some string familiarity. If not, this is going to be a tough video to start with. Okay, so you start off with opening A, and the second part is where it already gets hard. The International String Figure Association tells you one thing to do, and I'm going to tell you a different way that I like to do this next move. So basically we have to twist this whole figure half turn. So what I like to do is, so you can see I've got my opening A here, and I just put it face down on my right leg, because what I'm going to do, this is my right hand over here. I don't know if it's mirrored for you, but this is my right hand, this is my right leg, and I take my opening A, and I set down those loops, and I take my hand out the top. So my opening A was upside down, all my fingers were pointing towards the floor, and I let go of those. So you have to be careful not to lose any of these loops on your left hand. But what you do with your right hand, which is now totally free, is now you come from the bottom of those loops. You got the 3 loops, which you didn't mix them up when you laid them down. My thumb went right here, furthest away from me. My pointer went right here in the middle. My pinky went right here. So now I'm going to come in from the bottom. So that means my thumb is going to come in this loop that's closest to my body. My pointer is going to come in this middle loop, and my pinky is going to come in from the bottom again to that loop. And so if you didn't lose your left hand, you're doing great. So now, before we did this twist, we had loops on the same fingers. We still have a loop, 1 loop on each thumb, 1 loop on each pointer, 1 loop on each pinky. And it looks like this, more or less. It's hard to tell if someone's got it right. Except, there is one way to check. If you twist your hands, twisting your left hand away from you and your right hand toward you, halfway, you should see opening A, like that. You've got it, because we entered a single half twist, right? Into the entire figure, not individual loops, but the entire figure. So you twist back, and you've got the same thing. So you can see, if you were just paying close attention there, you would have noticed that I had a mistake on my pointer, because opening A didn't look right, because while I was showing you all, it fell off. And so now this is correctly opening A, what it looked like, but I had a twist before, and it looked wrong, because I had a slip up. So then we continue. The next thing is we introduced a twist just into our pointer loops. So we're going to do this on both sides, and you can start with whichever one you want. But I'm going to grab this one around my pointer, and I'm going to grab it, and then you twist it toward you, a full loop. People have trouble with this. I don't know if it helps, but one site tells it, it's like, oh, touch your nose, and then flip it around. Whereas if I were going the other way, I would do something different. So I grab this, touch my nose, and my finger is looping around. I'm displaying that bad. So I did one full loop of just that string. I almost caught on that one accidentally, and it would have messed the whole thing up. We do the same thing on the other side, where we grab the loop. I'm going to show you from a different angle this time, and just go. So that finger did a full loop. So we have the same thing, except we have a twist in this pointer loop now. And now when you do that thing where we checked opening A before, now we have opening A with our pointer loops have a twist. So you can still check at this point. So this might be the last point where you can check to see if you've done it right. Okay, so the next part, fun times. We're going to do it on both hands, so it doesn't matter which one you start with. But I am going to grab, so we've got a pointer loop and a pinky loop. I'm going to grab just the inner loops, or inner string of each of those loops, right? So I've got one string from each of those loops. And I'm going to show you this side because I grabbed it, and then I lift both of those loops completely off the pointer and the pinky, and now I just have the thumb loop on that hand. And so I'm holding these carefully so they don't get twisted up. A lot of people twist them up, and that's unfortunate. Sometimes I lift them off and then hold them like this so they can't flop around or twist or anything, because that'll mess you up and you won't notice until the very end. Okay, but what we do is with this thumb loop, now we take this thumb loop and get it over this whole hand. So I just slip the rest of my fingers in there until it's down to my wrist. And then I put these back where they came from. So I put the pointer on the pointer and the pinky into the pinky. And so now I have pinky, pointer, and that thumb loop is now on the wrist. And I want to do the same thing on the other hand too. So grab this pointer pinky, lift off. Let's see, I hold those like that so they can't flop around on me. And then you need to get this loop onto your whole hand. So some people try to use their other hand too. I just did it before like this, where I got my whole hand in there. But if you need to use your mouth or something to open it up to get your whole hand in there, feel free. Feel free. You just got to get it down to your wrist. And then take that pointer pinky and get those loops back on there. Oh my gosh. I'm like, if you're paying really close attention and you know the trick, you'll like see that my pinky loop just fell off accidentally and I got it back on, but it might have twisted. Who knows? We'll see at the end. Yikes, what a trick. But the next, so yeah, again, so now we have pinky on both, pointer on both, wrist loop. Boom. This next part's exciting. This is like my favorite string move out of any. It's great. So what we end up doing is, I'm going to break it down step by step, but you need to know what we do because it's cool. You use your thumb and you take off your pinky loop and you loop it around this pointer loop and put it back. You go whoop, and put it back. So to do that, you take your thumbs, which are free, right? Because those loops that are on our thumbs are now on our wrist. We take our thumbs and we go over that pointer loop. We kind of push down on it. And then under that first pinky, so we get our thumbs into that pinky loop, both sides. So push down on the pointer loop, both strings, and then under that the closest pinky loop string to you, you lift up on the back of your thumbs. You're actually going to let your pinky slide out. I messed it up. Just hold on one second. I'm going to catch back up, but something flipped off there. And like, I'm just afraid when you mess it up, it's just real sad, you know? The whole trick is messed up, and then it's going to look ugly at the end, and everyone's going to be like, what happened? And, you know, I only do these in one take, so if there's a mistake, you just got to deal with it. Okay, so where we were was pushing down on our pointer loops with our thumbs and jumping in that pinky loop with our thumbs. And we lift it all the way up off our pinkies. So our pinky loops, our pinkies are free because we put it on our thumbs. So now loop on pointers, loop on thumbs, loop on wrists. But remember, we're taking that loop that we just removed from our pinkies back to our pinkies. But so it does something. This time, we took them off over the pointer loop. Now we have to dive with our thumbs under both strings of that pointer loop. So we're going to go under both of those. under until we dive through and come out on the other side of that pointer loop. And then, our pinkies, it's kind of awkward, but now your pinkies have just got to get back in there. So they come from underneath, and they jump in there with the thumb. Jump both your pinkies in. And they actually, the pinkies come in on the side that's closest to them, which is further from your face. And so once your pinkies are both in there on both sides, you drop your thumbs and withdraw them completely, so they're back out here free. So now you have a loop back on your pinkies, loop on your pointers, and a loop on your wrists. So I really like that move. Once you get fast, it's like, I don't know. I'll explain it to you in person sometime. But the next thing that you do is we take our wrist loop and we get it back up onto our thumb without twisting it. That's key. That is a mistake people sometimes make. So, so my whole hand was in that, and now just my thumb is in it. Same thing over here. I did it with my mouth once. This time I'll do it with my hand. Lift it completely off my hand, and then put it down just on my thumb. Boom. So now we have pinky, pointer, thumb, and a tangle in the middle, and it's really hard to tell if you made a little mistake at some point. Like, I don't know. So, okay, good. I haven't lost my place. Sometimes if you go too slow, you're like, where was I again? I'm used to going at a certain pace and not talking in between steps, but I got you. Next, we're going to do something with our pointer loops. I like to use these 4 fingers, the non-thumb fingers. So I take these 4, and we're going to do it on the side, so it doesn't matter what you do first. And I'm going to dive into the side of my hand under my pointer finger into that loop. And I just take that loop. So I dove in there. I'm just going to grab just that loop and lift it off. So now that pointer loop is just parked over here on these 4 fingers. And I needed to take that off because we got something to do over here with the pinky. And I have to use this hand again, so this hand is like, don't lose any of those loops, there's a lot going on. We have to take this pinky loop, and we have to lift it off our hand without twisting it, and then get your whole hand in there. So we took that pinky loop and moved it down to our wrist without twisting. And then we take that parked pointer loop we had over here and just put it back on the pointer. Just a transfer. So it's back. We got to do the same thing. So we take these 4 fingers, lift off the pointer loop, park that string over there, take this pinky, move it so it's down onto all my fingers, pinky loop down to wrist. And then we take this parked one over here and we put it back onto our pointers. Huzzah! So now we have free pinkies, free ring finger, free middle finger. We got a loop on the pointers, a loop on the thumb, and a loop down here on the wrist. And what we're going to do is we're going to take that wrist loop, lift it up off our hand without twisting, and replace onto the pinky. Wrist to pinky. Up and off completely, back down onto the pinky without twisting. So now, here we are where we've been many times in this trick, with a thumb loop, a pointer loop, a pinky loop, and lots of tangles in the middle. Ooh, fun. We've got some fun steps up next. This is a long trick. This is going to be my longest video, easy. But also the hardest trick I've tried to do on here. I'm going to have to do the walking dog sometime, and that's going to be a lot too. I don't know if it'll be longer or shorter than this, but I think that one's fewer steps. They're just hard to do. Okay. These are hard to explain. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We have to take our thumb loop and transfer it to our pointers. And then we're going to have 2 loops on each pointer finger, and we have to keep them separate. So, here's how we do it. We're trying to get this thumb loop off of our thumbs and onto our pointers. So I'm going to take my pointers, and they're going to bend down, and they're going to come up under that far thumb string that's farthest from you, closest to your pointers. They're going to come up under one. So they're like coming up in the middle of the loop, right? Pointer, whoop, right up in the middle. Over here too. Dive down, come up right up in the middle. And so then I let my thumbs out. So I like to, if you bend slightly, because you don't want to lose this top loop, you don't want it to slide off your pointer, you bend slightly, I find it easier to keep this bottom loop below the knuckle and the top loop above the knuckle. So you apply a little pressure, bend your knuckle just a little, and then you've got the 2 loops on your pointer. The top one is the one we just put on there, both sides. And then we've got a loop on our pinkies. And here's what we did. We just took our thumbs out. Now we take our thumbs and we stick it up in the middle of the lower, stick it up in the middle of the upper loop. So you get your thumb in both of those loops on both sides. You just stick your thumb straight up in the middle of both loops and pull back. So now you've got your thumb and your pointer on in those double loops. And this is fun. We have to DNA the loop, also known as Navajo the loop, right? DNA being an autonym, a name the people who came up with that move call themselves, one of the names. And so we have to take off the lower loop from our thumbs and leave on the upper loop. So mouths are great for DNAing loops because it's really nice here to maintain all this tension we have in the string. So I'm going to take off the lower loop and leave on that upper loop. You saw it. You saw it happen. Same thing over here. Take off the lower loop of my thumb. Leave on the upper. Okay, and now, did you remember we're trying to keep these separate on our other hand? Mine we're trying to get closer, the 2 loops. Because what we have to do next is we have to just get the top loop off of our pointers. So the one we put there second. So if they collapse on you, it's going to be a little tricky, but maybe this will help. You can see that it's what the top one looks like on mine, and I'm just going to let it slip off because we're just letting that top string go. So I have these knuckles bent, that bottom one's in place, and I can let that top string slip off. So now we are back to thumb loop, pointer loop, pinky loop, where we've been so many times, and we are down to our last move. And basically, do you remember that thing at the very beginning where we like flipped our hand and turned it around? We are undoing that. So we have to do a half turn this way now. And here's how I like to do that. I like to use my left hand, this is my left hand, to grab my 3 right hand loops until there's no twists between my grab and, see, those are all straight, like there's no twist between the grab and the fingers. And the shorter the better. If your like grab is way out here and your string's way out, you want short little distance here because this is hard. I'm going to take these off. So I'm going to slide my hand out from the bottom. And then I've got my thumb on top there. And I flip the whole thing towards me. And then, oh, it's really hard. Look at this loop that just really wants to twist. It's got a life of its own. This one too. Oh my gosh, this string. But with just the single twist that we introduced and no more little twists from the loops trying to flip around, we need to get back in there from the bottom this time because we came out to the top. Now we're going back in the bottom. So my thumb is going in the nearest loop. My pointer's going in the next loop. My pinky's going in the loop, which is trying to flip around. And it may have succeeded in flipping around on us. We'll see. But then, till we get back in with thumb, pointer, pinky. Then we let that go. And we have thumb, pointer, pinky again. And we should have the trick right here. We just have to do the display. And there's the easy display, and then there's the real display. So the next step that I like to do to get us towards displaying our string figure, which again, twin stars, Zubenelgenubi, is we take our pointer loop and we drop it between the other two loops, like between the thumb and the pinky. You drop it there. And now this is like ISFA didn't tell me this, the International String Figure Association. This is just me like figuring out how to make it better. And then you have to like spread your hands wide, your thumb and your pinky, and you slowly pull up that slack. Do you see that slack's going away? Oh my gosh, I think I might have made a mistake. Well, no, I didn't make a mistake, except for the mistakes I fixed. Definitely made those mistakes. Okay, so then once you got to do this super gently. If you pull too fast, the whole trick collapses. But this is the easy display. Those are your twin diamonds. They're like kind of skinny and weird, and it's not the real display, but it's dope because we're almost there. Okay, step now for the advanced display. All right, for the advanced display, we have to connect our thumb and pinky, and there's a loop on each. Remember, connect our thumb and pinky, and you flip the pinky because they're connected. So you just flip the pinky onto your thumb. And so now I've got two loops on my thumb, and this is the one I just put there. This is another time where you have to keep them separate, and it's hard to do. So now there's nothing on my pinky. So I got two loops on my thumb. I'm trying to keep them separate. Same thing on the other side. Pinky to thumb flip. Take the pinky loop. Once they're connected, flip it onto the thumb. And then once you pull tight, not too tight. You got this. Double loop, the newer one's on top. And now, this is actually, I think, if you're familiar with the Diker series, the Bay Diker series, I've adapted a display. I think I did this. Anyway, well, the best display. Okay, and so now I'm going to flip around, so from like your point of view. So I take these three fingers, pinky, ring, middle, and you have to come in the thumb loop from the bottom, and then you have to grab the one thumb loop string. See, so they're just grabbing one of them, and it's the one that's closest to my face and is lower. So you've got a lower close, you've got a lower far, you've got an upper close, upper far. So you're gonna stick those three into the middle of the loop and clamp down on just the lower close loop. This is hard to explain, and I'm sure for you to follow. But same thing over here. Take those three fingers into the middle of the lower thumb loop and clamp down on the lower near loop. So they're just clamped down here. The two loops are still on my thumb. And now we need our pointer fingers, because they're going to dive into the upper thumb loop from above on both sides, and then they're going to flip up, pulling on the back, the near upper thumb loop. Same thing over here. And so what we do is, we get this. And that's the display, which is a little more elegant. My slow motion ended up with some really tiny twin stars. I like it. Usually they're a little bigger and I get a mask. Now I have to hold it away to get the mask. Zubenelgenubi, twin star, and I really think they're just beautiful with the double outline, right? They're like got a double line on them. Like all that stuff we did wove this pattern together, and we got this double line, and their intersection is cool because the two go in the middle of the other one. It's just great, you know. It's like my bifocals, just my right here, or my, yeah, whatever. So that is Zubenelgenubi, twin stars. Also know, the star's name is Alpha Librae. You can find them in the sky. I don't even know when you can see Libra, or if you can even see that in this hemisphere. Presumably, some guy from California made this trick up. But, yeah, who knows. And the dissolve is you pull, it's like every other diamond trick. You grab the top and the bottom and pull. So yeah, some people don't think this is super cool because it's another diamond trick, and like Jacob's Ladder, 4 diamonds, and there's all these diamond tricks, but I love this trick. I love the moves. I love the end product. Super cool. Feel free to join ISFA so you can get a different way of explaining it if I lost you at some point. But thanks for coming out today. Let's see if I can show you the dissolve. Well, I like to put it on my knee to... It's a really nice braid once you just let it collapse too, but let's see if I grab the right ones. Oh, I did. Beautiful dissolve. Anyway, Zubenelgenubi. Happy solstice today. Maybe you'll go out and see those planets tonight. I don't know. Good seeing y'all.